In this video, I'm going to show you how to get more leads, calls, and sales for your business through Instagram. Who am I? I'm Daniel Neal. I specialize in Instagram growth and monetization for service and coaching businesses on Instagram. I have grown my first Instagram account to over 130,000 followers in the space of about 9 months. And I have also grown my second account, which is much more targeted, to around 33,000 people. Importantly, in the process of growing my own and clients' accounts, I have learned how to convert that attention into actual buy-in leads for your business. I have also used Instagram to grow my current email list to over 10,000 people that I can market to over time. This is very important because the email list is an asset that you own, and it's a very powerful resource for you for converting people into buyers. Most people are not going to just watch you on Instagram and then instantly buy. By getting them onto your email list, you're then able to market to them more over time and build more trust and authority with them. And over time, a lot of them will convert into buyers. Most of my own sales actually comes from people who have been on my email list for a number of months. What I am going to show you: how to grow on Instagram, what type of content you should be making in order to reach your target customers, how to effectively convert the views into leads for your business, how to grow your email list with your ideal customers, how to automate the process, and common mistakes that people make. Okay, so first of all, how to grow on Instagram. First, what matters in terms of the algorithm? Okay, so the first most important thing when it comes to if someone is going to get recommended your reels or your posts is, has that person previously interacted well with your posts? If you keep watching someone's reels and you always positively interact with those reels, so you watch the entire reel, maybe you comment, maybe you share the reel, maybe you also like the reel, then obviously that's going to tell Instagram that you really like that person's reels. And so when that person then uploads a new reel, then obviously Instagram's going to rank that reel very highly on your feed due to your previous positive interactions. Obviously, this is the same with your own followers and people who have previously seen your reels but not followed you yet. If your followers keep positively interacting with your reels, then your new reels are going to rank highly in their feeds. This is why it's very important to keep your content within your niche so that you build up a following of people in your niche and so that all of your followers are interacting well with your content. And for this reason, it's also important to limit posts that will probably not get good engagement, especially from people who are within your niche, because obviously if they don't engage well, then it's also going to hurt your future reels because it's telling Instagram that this person hasn't engaged well with your posts, and so there's a chance that he also won't interact well with your future reels. The next thing that matters is whether or not similar people have positively interacted with the post. Instagram can tell if you're likely to interact well with a reel based on if people who like similar reels to what you do have liked this particular reel and interacted well with this particular reel. So they've been watching it all the way through, they've been sharing it, that there's been lots of comments on it. And if those particular people are quite similar to you in the reels that they tend to like, then obviously that's going to tell Instagram that there's a high chance that you're also going to interact well with that reel. Again, this is why it's important to keep your reels within your niche. And also, if your followers positively interact with your reels, it will help you to get pushed out more. So if you've built up a following with followers who are interested in the content of your niche, then and they interact well with one of your reels, then it's going to push that reel out to more people who are similar to your followers. In terms of engagement, something that's particularly important is how many shares that the reel gets. The Instagram CEO himself said that shares are particularly important. My own highest viewed reels have more shares than likes, and usually, pretty much always, my highest viewed reels, they will have a very high amount of shares when compared with likes. Usually there will be at least as many shares as likes. Now, that's not always the case. I do have reels that have gone viral where there weren't that many shares, but I know that if the shares are about the same as the likes, then I know that typically that reel is going to get a very high number of views. When it comes to getting high shares, including resources that are useful in your niche can be very helpful, because people want to remember those resources for later on, or they want their friends to see those resources, so they share the reels, and so those reels tend to get high amounts of shares. The next thing that matters is the watch percentage, and not necessarily the watch duration. You want a high watch percentage. Likes, comments, and saves don't have as much importance as shares. I don't recommend trying specifically to optimize for high likes, comments, and saves, with the exception of comments, but that's because comments can be very useful for getting leads, which I'm going to talk about more later. Okay, so what should you do when it comes to growing on Instagram? The number one thing is to base your reels on proven topics in your niche. Your competitors' reels are already showing you what is working on Instagram in your niche right now. So those high view reels are proven reels. And so you want to be basing your reels, at least initially, on those proven reels. The trends on Instagram tend to move very quickly. When you're looking at your competitors' reels, you really want to be basing your reels off of reels that have gone viral in your niche within the last 2 weeks. If it went viral more than 2 weeks ago, it's not likely that you will go viral by creating your own variation of that reel. Usually 2 weeks is too long. Usually more than 2 weeks is too long. If you find a reel that has gone viral within 2 weeks, then that represents a very good opportunity for you. The next tip is to make sure to make more of what's already working for you. Often, if you make more versions of your reels that have gone viral, those new versions of those reels will also get very high views. And also, likewise, you want to stop making more variations of bad performers. If your reels have been performing badly, simply making more of them is not likely to change anything. In that situation, you need to be trying different types of reels. The next thing is that every second in the reel is important. People's attention is very short on Instagram, so you need to avoid having content in the reel that's not that important. And also, this also means that you want to be trying to talk reasonably quickly in your reels. So you want to try and talk a bit faster than normal. You want to have a bit more energy than normal, and you want to cut out any gaps between speaking. So if you're thinking of what you're going to say next, when you're doing the editing, you want to make sure to cut that out, because then that's going to shorten the reel and it's going to help you to get more views. The next very important tip is to stick to only one niche. As I said earlier, the most important thing is previous interactions with your reels. So if you're posting on a variety of niches, your followers, some of your followers are only going to engage with certain types of content, and other followers are only going to engage with other types of content. And that's going to signal to Instagram not to recommend your reels when you upload them to your followers, because they're not always engaging well with your reels. So of course, this is going to hurt your views. If you want to be in multiple niches, you should have multiple accounts instead, where each account is for a single niche. The goal here for us is to make sales. We're not trying to get famous with entertainment content. We're trying to get in front of our target buyers. So you need to make sure with all of the reels and posts that you're posting that it's relevant to your target buyer. If you don't think that your target buyer would be interested in this reel or post, then you don't want to be posting it. Later on, I'm going to talk to you about where the people are in the funnel. So it goes from where they're not aware of the problem, they're aware of the problem, and then finally they're aware that there's a solution to the problem, and then they're aware of your product and they want to buy your product. It's okay to be creating content that makes people aware of the problem that you solve. Right, that's fine, but you don't want to be posting completely irrelevant content that someone would never watch, who's potentially would buy from you in the future. Basically, what you need to know here is that you want to keep it within your niche, right? In general, as long as it's within your niche, then that's okay. The hook on an Instagram reel is the first piece of text or the first thing that the person says in the reel, and it's what hooks your attention into the reel. The hook is particularly important because the hook is what stops the person from scrolling. If you're basing your reel off of a reel that has just gone viral in your niche, then you want to pay close attention to the hook. When you're creating a variation of that reel, you want to make sure that you stay quite close to the hook that they used. How to do the research when finding viral topics. The obvious place to look is Instagram. And so you can look at your competitors in your niche, and you can also search for terms in your niche by putting niche words into the search bar. So if I'm in the fitness niche, then I might search in the search bar words such as creatine, fitness diet, fitness, gym, weightlifting, all types of searches that are relevant in my niche. And then I'm going to look through the reels, and I'm just going to look for reels that have got particularly high views. And then I'm going to click through, and I'm going to click on their accounts, and I'm going to look to see if any reels have recently gone viral for them, and I'm going to save them. And then when it comes to planning the videos I'm going to make, I'm going to look at all of the reels that I found that have recently gone viral, and then I'm going to base my reels off of those topics. Instagram's not the only place that you can find viral topics, and often actually the best places to find viral topics is outside of Instagram, because they have not yet been saturated on Instagram. So you potentially can be the first person to post that viral piece of content. So one obvious place to look, or two obvious places to look, are TikTok and YouTube Shorts, because they're also short form platforms. TikTok search is actually better than Instagram search. So you can do that same process that I just said, where you're putting in niche relevant search terms into the search bar, and then you look at the videos that got high views, and you also look in their accounts and see if any recent videos have gotten high views, and then you want to save them, and then potentially make your reels based on those high view videos that you find. A particularly powerful place to find viral content is actually Twitter, or what is now called X. It's very good for finding content for carousels, but you can also use it for ideas for your reels as well. And again, what you want to do is find accounts in your niche and see what has gone viral for them recently. And you can also go into the search bar and put niche relevant terms into the search bar. Also, you can use the advanced search on Twitter to make it only show posts or threads that have gotten more than a certain number of likes or favorites on Twitter. So again, you want to go through that process and get a list of topics that have recently gone viral, and you want to pay close attention to the hooks. And then you want to go ahead and create your own variations of those topics. And remember, if you're using ideas from outside of Instagram, you need to put it into a good format for Instagram. So for example, Twitter threads are good for Instagram carousels. And then after that, you need to look at the results, and you want to keep making more of what works. And at the same time, you want to go through that same process above, so that you keep finding what's currently working in your niche on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Twitter. How to do the editing for Instagram Reels. The easiest way to do it is with CapCut. CapCut is very intuitive and very simple to use. And to be honest, there are not really any major benefits to using things like Premiere Pro over CapCut. When it comes to Instagram, it's not about how good it looks. What really matters on Instagram is the hook and the topic of the video. If you do well on the hook and the topic of the video, then that's what really is important. Having very good looking editing isn't that important. And actually the editing should be for clarity and to emphasize the hook and the script. So for example, captions showing what you're saying, or clear text on the reel so that you can clearly see the hook. Or if you're talking about a resource, then you show what the resource is on the screen. And this is what it looks like in CapCut. Editing for spoken reels. You want to remove long pauses between speech, because again, you want to make the reels as short as possible, where you remove anything that's not necessary. A lot of users don't listen to the audio, so you want to make sure to have captions that show what you're saying. Adding relevant visuals to what you're saying can be helpful because it adds clarity. So for example, if you're talking about a particular person, you can add some B-roll of that person to make it clear that that's who you're talking about. And if you're basing the reel off of a viral topic, then you want to very closely look at the editing that the viral topic used, because that's proven editing. For non-spoken reels, ideally you want to one day create a bank of clips of you working in the environment of your niche, and then you can use that as background footage for your non-spoken reels. And on the non-spoken reels, you always want to make sure that the text is clear to read. And also you want to make sure that the hook is shown for long enough so that you can actually read the hook. So this is what you might have for a non-spoken reel. The background is relevant to the topic of the reel. As I said earlier, it's not about going viral and getting huge views, right? You want to get as many views as you can do from your target customers, right? You specifically want to be reaching your target customers or your target avatar. So things that you do want to do is post content that is within your niche. On Instagram, you want to put more focus on top of funnel content. So there are a lot of people who are unaware of the problem that you solve. There are quite a lot of people who are aware of the problem that you solve, but they're not aware that there's a solution, and they're not aware that there's your particular product that solves the solution. In general, on Instagram, you want to be doing top of funnel content. Usually the buying process looks like you get people who are unaware and problem aware via your reels, and then you can get them into your email list, and they might also start following you and watching your stories. And through your emails, your stories, and also YouTube videos and webinars, you can make them become solution aware, product aware, and then finally fully aware of your particular product and wanting to buy your particular product. You do want to have some content that is closer to the bottom of the funnel, and in particular in some of your stories, but not all of your stories. A lot of your stories also will be top of funnel content. But really it's your emails, your YouTube videos and webinars that are going to be much more conversion focused. You do want to research content that's working for your competitors in your niche. You do want to keep making more variations of your winners. You do want to change losers, or at a minimum change your losing reels and try a different way of making them. When you're doing call to actions, you do want to call out your target customer directly. You do want to call out your target avatar directly in your bio. You do want to use the language that your target audience would use. If they're not aware of technical language, in general, you don't want to be using that technical language, because remember that they're generally going to be top of funnel users. You don't want to be using that technical language until they're lower down in the funnel. Don't. Things that you don't want to do. Do not ever try to go viral with content that is not within your niche, because you're going to be attracting people who are not ever going to be interested in your product, and they're going to negatively interact with your reels, and it's going to hurt your ability to push your reels out to people who might buy your products. Also, you don't want to be posting content that has no purpose behind it and where you don't clearly have a reason why it's going to get good engagement. If you don't think that a piece of content is going to perform well, ideally you don't want to be posting it, because as I said at the beginning, the most important metric is, has the person previously interacted well with your reels? If you're putting out content that people aren't interacting well with, then it's going to hurt your future content. So you want to be careful about posting low effort content. Don't post too much content that is very low in the funnel, because most of your audience on Instagram are going to be very high up the funnel. The low content is better for emails and some of the stories. Don't have call to actions in your reels that have poor targeting. So in your reels, as I just said, you want to ideally call out your target avatar, right? The target person who has a good chance of buying from you, right? And people who are able to buy from you. You want to be a little bit polarizing in that you're calling out that type of person. You don't want it to be too targeted, but you do want it to be quite targeted so that you're targeting people who actually are able to buy from you. You get people who are unaware, problem or solution aware in the reels. You get people who are unaware or problem aware, or at best solution aware in your reels. And then you bring them down in your funnel via the emails, some of the stories, YouTube videos and webinars or training videos. How to effectively convert your views on Instagram into leads, and in particular into people giving you their emails. So you start by posting content that's within your niche and that has a high chance of getting good views within your niche, using the research process that I just said earlier. Then you tell people to comment for a free resource, and I will show you an example of a reel doing exactly how to do it in a moment. It should be a resource that's related to your product or useful for people within your niche. So for example, I sell Instagram growth and monetization services. So I'm using an Instagram growth and monetization guide as my lead magnet, but it doesn't have to be a full video like this. It can be something as simple as a PDF or a simple Notion template. For example, a list of useful resources in Notion for resources within your niche. And when telling people to comment for the resource, you want to make sure that it appeals to your target avatar and people who are likely to want to buy from you and able to buy from you. There's an automation software which is approved by Meta that will automatically link people to the free resource when they leave the comment saying the words that you tell them to comment. And again, I'll show you an example in a moment. Then you link them to a landing page where they have to enter their email to get the resource. such as what I have done here. Then you use an email delivery service to automatically send the resource to their email. And then in that email and in the welcome email, you want to link them to any free trainings that you have or any resources that might start the process of sending them closer to being a buyer. And that can take them closer down the funnel. Okay, so certain types of reels are better at getting people to comment. When you're getting people to comment for the resource, you want to be getting as many people to comment for it as possible. So you want to focus on reels that typically get the most amount of comments. Spoken reels typically get a lot more comments than non-spoken reels. Spoken reels, in my experience, also can get a lot more followers. If you compare a non-spoken reel with a spoken reel, and they both got 100,000 views, usually the spoken reel will get more followers than the non-spoken reel. You might get less views on the spoken reel, but that's okay if you get more people commenting for the lead magnet and if it actually converts into more followers. In a very ideal situation, you would find a high comment spoken reel format that consistently does well in your niche. And you can see here that I got 9,000 comments from one reel, and this woman actually got 173,000 comments from a single reel where they're asking for the lead magnet, as she's saying here. And in the actual reel itself, she says to comment the word to get the lead magnet. So once you have the leads, how to convert them into buyers. As I said earlier, most of your audience on Instagram are not going to be interested in buying from you right away. Most of them are simply scrolling through Instagram because they're trying to use up some time, or they're just looking for entertaining content. And most of them have never seen your brands before, and a lot of them are not even aware of the problem that you solve. That's why it's so valuable to get people's emails. In my experience, most of your sales will come from people who have been watching your reels, reading your emails, and watching your videos for months. So they'll get onto your email list, and then you'll be sending them emails, and then one day, a couple months later, they'll be aware of the problem, they'll be aware that there's a solution, and by then they'll be aware of your particular product, and in that moment they will buy. And that's usually what you will find that most of your buyers look like. And that's why the emails are particularly important. And ways to increase their demand for your particular product are with new subscriber email automations. This is a sequence of emails that are scheduled to automatically send over the course of days or weeks when someone opts into your email list. YouTube videos are very powerful at building trust and demand for your offer. Webinars, training videos, and regular emails. How to automate all of this. So once you have everything set up, all you have to worry about doing is creating the content. So the reels, stories, and emails, and if you're making videos, the videos. Once you have the lead magnets and landing pages made, you don't need to make them again. Once you have the ManyChat automation set up, it's set up and you don't need to do that again. And the ManyChat automation will automatically link people to the landing page. So that's all automated. You want to have an automated email welcome flow. And ideally you want to repurpose your other content where you can do, such as blog posts and YouTube videos. And you can repurpose them into emails, such as with the help of ChatGPT. Okay, so that's a breakdown of what you need to do in order to generate sales via Instagram for your service or business. So fundamentally, you're creating content within your niche, which has a high chance of getting a lot of views from people within your niche. You then want to send them to your lead magnets where they have to enter their emails, and then that gets them into your email list, and then you can market to them over time via emails and potentially via YouTube videos. And then over time, a lot of them are going to convert. Now, I do have services. Now, I do have a content and monetization service that I offer. I will research, script, and edit the reels for you. All you have to do, because obviously it's your brand, you're going to need to record the content in bulk. So I will send all of the scripts to you at once, and then you just record the footage for them all. You send them back to me, and then I'll do the edits and I'll upload the reels for you. I will also set up the landing pages for the lead magnets, the ManyChat automations, I will set up your email software, and I will set up how to put the emails into the email list when they opt in on the landing pages. You'll also get full email support from me, and you can also schedule a call from me whenever you need it. These are the main reasons why you should work with me. You want to save time. My particular expertise is in Instagram growth and monetization. So this is exactly what I do. You want someone who can actually generate leads, calls, and sales, right? I'm not just offering content creation services. I'm offering content creation with the objective of turning that into sales and how to put that through the process of actually generating sales. If you sell products for more than $1,000, I only need to get you a few sales to justify my services. If you're interested in booking a call, click the link below this video and we can discuss if my services would be appropriate for you.